When the West Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney said trade talks with the US have resumed after Canada has rescinded its plan to tax US tech firms. That's correct. Canada has scrapped its digital services tax targeting US technology firms late on Sunday. It came just hours before it was due to take effect in a bid to, in fact, advance stalled trade negotiations with Washington. Meanwhile, Trump abruptly called off trade talks on Friday over the tax targeting US technology firms, saying that it was a blatant attack. Canada and the US will resume trade negotiations in order to agree on a deal by the 21st of July. Meanwhile, my colleague Maha Siddiqui unpacks the latest from Vancouver.
2 days after President Trump said that he will halt the trade talks with Canada over the digital services tax, Canada has now rescinded this tech tax to be able to resume the trade talks with the United States. The trade talks between the two sides are supposed to wrap up by the 21st of July, which is the deadline that has been set by the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, after which the US is going to decide on reciprocal tariffs if a trade deal is not struck between the two sides to respond to the United States punishing tariffs on Canada. Currently, the US tariffs imposed against Canada include a 25% tariff on the automobile sector, 50% tariff on aluminum and steel, and 10% tariff on the energy that Canada exports to the United States. Now, the DST, which is the digital services tax that was the latest beef that Trump had with Canada, was implemented last year, but the first payment of that was due tomorrow, that is Monday, here in Canada. And President Trump raised a stinker over it. Meanwhile, the USTR, that is the United States Trade Representative, had been raising this issue with Canada since last year and had also taken this for dispute settlement under CUSMA, which is the trade agreement between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. Canada's contention or argument for DST was that if Canadian data is being used by these big tech and e-commerce platforms for advertising, for marketplace, for selling products, then part of their revenue should be taxed by Canada as well. But for the time being, since the Canadian side has decided that they will rescind this tax for the sake of resuming the talks with the United States, the tax or the DST and the payments that were due by Monday will be halted, and it now remains to be seen how the two sides are able to take the conversation forward on the trade talks. So far, Canada has been tight-lipped on the negotiations continuing between the two sides. In Vancouver, this is Maha Siddiqui for NDTV.